We often think we know animals, right? You see them around, maybe on TV.
Mm-hmm. Familiar faces.
Yeah. But what if their stories, the real meaning behind them, run way deeper than just biology?
Absolutely. There can be huge cultural weight there.
Exactly. These everyday creatures, the ones we kind of take for granted, can hold these surprising layers of cultural, historical, maybe even psychological significance. So today on the deep dive, we're going to explore three really fascinating ones: the sheep, the bat, and the owl.
A great lineup. Very different creatures.
Totally. And we've gathered some amazing stuff from our sources: detailed research, cultural insights, history, even some pop culture bits. Our mission basically is to get past the obvious, uncover the kind of extraordinary, sometimes even contradictory roles these animals play in how humans see the world across different times and places.
Yeah.
The goal is for you, listening, to really see these familiar creatures in a completely new way by the end.
And it's not just about listing facts, is it? It's more about connecting the dots.
Right.
Linking ancient myths to, say, modern conservation or even psychology. It really shows how understanding these animals helps us understand ourselves, our own cultures.
Okay, let's dive in then. First up, the humble sheep.
Ah, the sheep.
When you picture one, it's probably, gentle, maybe a bit passive, just grazing.
That's the common image, definitely. Follow the leader.
But that image, it barely scratches the surface. They're surprisingly complex. Biologically, okay, they're mammals. But what's really key is their nature, social grazing herbivores descended from wild mouflon.
And that nature is exactly what made them suitable for domestication.
Exactly. It laid the groundwork for thousands of years of human history, even economic revolutions. They're herd animals, strong flocking instincts, great senses.
Smell, sight, hearing, all vital for pastures.
And their evolution, going back maybe 11,000 years, multiple domestication events in Southwest Asia, Europe. It's this long, intertwined story with us.
And culturally. Oh, it's incredibly rich. Think about ancient Sumeria, Mesopotamia. They had a sheep goddess, Dutter.
A goddess for sheep.
Yeah, protecting the flocks. And in ancient Egypt, sheep offerings were common in burials. Shows their early spiritual weight.
Wow.
Then you get into symbolism. Christianity, the lamb, represents innocence, purity. The Lamb of God is a hugely powerful symbol of sacrifice.
Right. Very central image.
And in the Chinese zodiac, the sheep or ram stands for things like justice, nourishment. Plus, you see them in Celtic and Native American traditions too, often as symbols of peace, healing.
So vital for survival and a spiritual touchstone.
Precisely. It's amazing how that works.
And practically speaking, their utility is ancient. Among the very first livestock domesticated, right, back in Southwest Asia, 11,000 to 9,000 BCE.
Yep. Initially for meat, milk, hides, the basics.
But the wool, that seems like the game changer. That came later.
A bit later, yeah. Specialization in wool production really took off between maybe 6,000 and 3,500 BCE.
And that just exploded their economic impact.
Absolutely. Made them central to the wool trade, drove early economies in Mesopotamia, and later you had things like medieval Spain's Mesta.
Mesta, what was that?
A massive, really powerful guild of sheep owners. Think political influence, land rights, the whole deal. Especially with their merino flocks' super fine wool.
Wow. So sheep literally shaped international trade.
In profound ways. But that economic power, it wasn't always smooth sailing.
Yeah. What kinds of issues?
Well, think about it. Huge flocks need land. So overgrazing became a real problem. Land disputes shaped medieval laws, guild rules.
Makes sense. Competition for resources.
Exactly. And sadly, disease transmission too. Livestock diseases sometimes impacted native wildlife, like bighorn sheep populations suffering.
Unintended consequences.
But their presence is just everywhere in historical records. The Bible, Pliny's natural history, ancient Mesopotamian art, sheep are constantly there.
What about in, modern media, pop culture? Are sheep big stars?
Well, maybe not stars like dogs or cats, but iconic lamb characters definitely pop up, usually embodying that innocence theme.
Like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Perfect example. Or in pastoral cartoons. And recently, they've found this weird internet fame.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Viral videos, sheep shearing, cute lambs jumping around, those kind of funny talking sheep videos on TikTok. They still have this comforting, maybe slightly amusing appeal.
So psychologically, how do we tend to see them? Gentle, passive?
Generally, yes. That evokes feelings of comfort, maybe nostalgia. Archetypally, they represent conformity, follow like sheep. but also purity, meekness. In dreams, they often show up reflecting vulnerability or maybe peace, spiritual innocence.
We use them in sayings all the time.
Tons of them. Counting sheep, wolf in sheep's clothing, the black sheep of the family. They're embedded in our language, even U-turn.
Right. So wrapping up on sheep, there are wild versions too, right?
Yeah.
And different cultural takes.
Definitely. You've got wild species like bighorn sheep, mouflon, very different vibe, rugged, adapted, and pastoral cultures, say in Mongolia, Kashmir, Australia, New Zealand. Sheep are incredibly important, economically and symbolically, central to festivals, rituals.
So to contrast that, Western view is maybe harmless, tame.
Yeah, often. Whereas in some indigenous contexts, especially thinking about wild sheep, they can symbolize toughness, adaptation. It shows even the humble sheep has many faces.
Okay, fascinating. Let's shift gears completely now to a creature often misunderstood, even feared, the bat.
The bat.
Definitely carries a lot of baggage.
For sure. But despite that spooky rep, they're incredibly diverse, biologically and symbolically. Really worth a closer look. Scientifically, what makes them stand out? I mean, the obvious one.
Flight. They're the only mammals capable of sustained flight. That's huge.
It really is. And their name, Chiroptera.
Means hand wing. A perfect description. Their wing is basically a modified hand.
Amazing. And there are tons of species.
Over 1,400. Generally divided into megabats, the fruit bats, flying foxes, and microbats, mostly insect eaters using echolocation.
Echolocation, that's another incredible thing.
Totally. Navigating and hunting in pitch darkness, their diets vary wildly to insects, fruit, nectar.
And the famous ones.
And the 3 species of blood-feeding vampire bats, yes. Which probably doesn't help their PR. Probably not. But their adaptations, flexible wings, amazing hearing, because they're global too, right?
Everywhere except the extreme poles. Evolutionarily, they go back maybe 50, 60 million years, likely from small, tree-dwelling insectivores, ancient survivors.
Okay, so biologically unique, but culturally, wow, it's night and day, almost literally.
It really is. That duality is striking. In Europe, historically, witches, vampires, death omens, deeply feared.
The classic spooky association.
But then you go to China, and bats symbolize happiness, good fortune.
How? Why the huge difference?
It's a linguistic coincidence, basically.
Yeah.
The word for bat sounds the same as word for blessing.
No way, just a pun.
Essentially, yeah. A homophone shifted the entire cultural perception. It just shows how much interpretation shapes our view of animals, right?
That's wild. What about other cultures?
Well, in Maya mythology, you have Camazotz, a powerful, maybe fearsome bat god of night, sacrifice, rebirth. In some African tales, they're tricksters or messengers.
So always connected to thresholds.
Yeah.
Night, death, transformation.
Often, yes. That symbolism of life, death, hidden truths, change. It resonates across cultures, even if the feeling about them differs.
It's interesting, though. For a creature so feared, they've actually been useful to humans, haven't they? Historically.
In direct ways, yeah. Never domesticated, but observed for things like weather forecasting, navigation clues, and their economic roles are surprisingly big.
Like pest control.
Exactly. Insectivorous bats eat thousands of mosquitoes and other insects per night. Huge benefit.
Wow.
They pollinate plants too, including agave.
Agave.
So if you enjoy tequila, thank a bat. No bats, no tequila.
I had no idea. That's amazing. And guano, too.
Yep, bat droppings. Historically super valuable as fertilizer and even used to make gunpowder components.
So useful.
Yeah.
But still often persecuted.
Historically, yes. Fear, superstition. And unfortunately, they get linked to diseases, rabies, or the debates around COVID-19 origin.
Right, that association is strong for some people.
It is. But thankfully, modern conservation efforts are really pushing back, emphasizing their vital ecosystem roles. They're allies, not enemies.
How have they shown up in art and stuff?
Well, medieval bestiaries often depicted them as devilish creatures. Renaissance art sometimes used them for demonic symbolism.
Sticking with the negative theme.
Mostly in Europe, yes. But then, Chinese scrolls often show them as joyful, lucky motifs. Again, that stark contrast.
In pop culture, it has to be Batman.
Batman is definitely the giant bat in the room. Taking that symbol of fear and turning it into power, it's iconic.
Any others?
Sure, characters like Bartok from Anastasia, the kids' book Stella Luna, lots of bat-inspired Pokemon. And online, they've had a weird surge in cuteness factor. Videos of fruit bats eating fruit with their tiny hands.
Oh, I've seen those.
Or the little orphaned ones wrapped up like burritos. It's definitely shifting perceptions for some people.
So psychologically, our relationship is complicated.
Very. A mix of that deep-seated fear from myths, but also growing admiration for their unique biology and ecological importance. And yeah, that increasing view of some bats, especially fruit bats, as actually kind of cute.
What about archetypes?
Archetypally, they can represent the shadow, like Jung talked about, unconscious spheres, hidden aspects of the self. Also, the liminal creature living between worlds, dusk and dawn, symbolizing transformation.
And Batman adds another layer.
Definitely. The vigilante archetype, the misunderstood ally, he's shaped how we see bats in that context.
And dreams. If you dream of a bat.
Could be positive interchange, sharper perception, or negative hidden enemies, maybe illness, depends on context. And we have sayings like blind as a bat, which isn't actually true, they see quite well.
Right. I always wondered about that one.
Also, like a bat out of hell, meaning very fast, and bats in the belfry for being eccentric or crazy.
Okay. And globally, just briefly, huge diversity, right?
Yeah.
Megabats, microbats.
Massive diversity. Tiny bumblebee bat to the giant golden crown flying fox in the Philippines. Vampire bats unique to the Americas. Mexican free-tailed bats in those huge colonies.
And the cultural views still vary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lucky in China, often feared in Western Europe, pollinators of agave in Mexico, a creature truly defined by its duality.
Incredible. Okay, our final animal for this deep dive. The owl. The enigmatic sentinel of the night.
Ah, the owl. Wisdom comes to mind immediately for most people.
Right. Almost universally associated with wisdom. Yet, like the others, its meaning is way more complex, sometimes contradictory across cultures. Scientifically, they're in the order Strigiformes. About 200 species, right? Barn owls and true owls.
Correct. Two main families. And they have such distinctive features. That upright stance, broad head, the facial discs.
The huge, forward-facing eyes.
Yes. Binocular vision. And those serrated feathers for silent flight. Sharp talons. They're built to be night hunters.
And the head-turning thing.
Oh yeah, that near 270-degree rotation. Not all the way around, but close. It compensates for their eyes being fixed in their sockets.
Wow. Carnivores, mostly nocturnal, solitary, found almost everywhere. They've really perfected that nocturnal predator role over millions of years.
They really have. Silent flight, incredible hearing, sharp vision in low light. Evolutionary marvels.
So culturally, that wisdom association is strong. Greece.
Definitely. The little owl associated with Athena, goddess of wisdom, it was even on Athenian coins. A powerful, clear symbol of insight.
But not everywhere.
Not at all. Contrast that sharply with some Native American traditions. Depending on the tribe, owls could be wise guides or they could be omens of death.
Whoa, total opposites again.
Exactly. How can one creature mean wisdom and death? It really highlights cultural interpretation. Globally, you see this range. The Ainu in Japan and Russia worshipped an owl god, Skap Kamui. The Aztec honored Chachutecalutl, an owl deity.
So the symbolism covers wisdom, foresight, but also death, hidden knowledge, transitions.
A really broad spectrum. Spiritually, they're often totems of night vision, seeing what others can't, mystery, sometimes protective, sometimes quite ominous.
And their presence in human history goes way back.
Millennia. You find them in cave art, indigenous stories long before written history, then later mythology. Economically, their role in rodent control is huge.
Natural pest control.
And modern issues, like the impact of pesticides on them, really underscore their ecological importance. But historically, it was mixed. Farmers might value them.
But the myths sometimes led to persecution.
Exactly. If your culture saw them as bad omens, you might not want them around. You see them depicted everywhere, though. Egyptian hieroglyphs, Greek coins, medieval bestiaries, always watching.
And in modern media, owls seem pretty popular.
Very popular. You have iconic owls like Hedwig from Harry Potter.
Everyone loves Hedwig.
Right. Owl from Winnie the Pooh, wise but sometimes muddled. Nature shows often feature species like the burrowing owl. They're used as mascots, too.
Yeah, for schools, environmental groups.
Symbolizing knowledge, vigilance. In kids' media, they're often the wise guide. And their hoots in movies or online can mean anything from spooky atmosphere to wisdom, even comedic timing in memes. We project a lot onto them.
So psychologically, how do we react?
Yeah.
Awe and fear again.
I think that's a good way to put it. Awe at their perceived insight, their ability to navigate darkness, see hidden things, but also an eeriness, right? That silent flight, those staring eyes in the night.
Definitely a bit spooky.
Archetypes?
Wisdom is the big one. Also prophecy, psychic vision, transition moving between light and dark, life and death.
And dreams. Similar to bats.
Similar in that they often point to hidden things, insight into truths you haven't acknowledged, intuition, maybe spiritual awakening, or sometimes a warning. And our language reflects this. Night owl, Wise as an owl, owl-eyed for being observant.
Mm.
Globally, there's huge diversity too, right? Around 216 species.
Wow.
Yeah, lots of variation. Unique facts like the barn owl having maybe 35 subspecies, living almost everywhere in open habitats. The great horned owl being this apex predator.
Mm.
And their silent flight really sets them apart.
It does. Compared to other nocturnal birds like nightjars, that silence is a key owl adaptation. And cross-culturally, the differences persist. West associates with wisdom. Some Native American cultures see them as messengers between worlds. Asia, sometimes patience or fortune. Celtic, Egyptian, Ainu traditions see them as omens or protectors. It's a global tapestry of belief.
Wow. Okay.
So this deep dive, it really shows how animals like the sheep, the bat, the owl, they're so much more than just biology, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They embody this whole spectrum of human perception, our fears, our hopes, our search for wisdom. It's all reflected back at us through these creatures across centuries and cultures. Understanding these layers, I think, it really deepens our connection to the natural world and maybe to ourselves, too.
Definitely. So here's a final thought for you listening. What other seemingly ordinary things in your world, maybe a common plant, an everyday object, a familiar place, might hold these extraordinary untold stories? What happens if you decide to take your own deep dive? You might be surprised. New insights, I think, are waiting everywhere, just beneath the surface.